I want to say something about that, and because it really ties into Charlie's earlier point. I want to talk about the illness in the movie, because it's very unusual to see illness portrayed in this way in a movie. Normally, in a movie, the kinds of movies that Charlie was just referring to, illness is there for someone to have a transcendent life experience and be happy that they were ill. They were happy that they were ill because they learned so much about what was important in life, and that's an untrue happy ending. And what I like about the way that the illness is portrayed in this movie, which is very realistic, is that illness comes upon us when we say, wait a minute, I'm busy. I have things that I need to do. I really don't have time for this right now. I have a story I need to tell. I have places I need to be. This is getting in my way. And then, the way that Caden sort of, he makes his saliva and he does his thing, and he puts in his he works with a cane, and he just keeps trying in a kind of Sisyphean way to keep going. And I think that is jarring to people. I think that is one of the things that jars people, because we're so used to seeing this one narrative about illness in movie that it's there to be a transcendent experience.
And yet it isn't in real life, as often. I mean, my grandmother died of Alzheimer's, and she faded and faded and faded. This was not a transcendent experience for her.
Right.
And watching her, go through driving past houses, and she'd have memories, sudden memories of her childhood, and she'd have these lovely memories that would come to her for a moment, and she'd start to cry, and then she'd go back into not remembering anything. And there were little moments, but there was never this big moment, and it was very sad. And so, no, there's not this big moment where everything, you succeed at the end and you learn, and Julia Roberts is, giving a speech about whatever, with Susan Sarandon, and they're singing in a hairdryer, whatever they're doing. But, so, yes, and I think people can obviously relate to that, or they don't want to face that. Yeah. It's frightening and sad. Not to be so depressing, sorry.
I think about mortality every moment in this film. I remember even in the screenplay, every moment in the screenplay, and I realized what a privilege it is to be involved with this film, because when Roger loved it so much, and I go see him in Chicago, we bonded a little over this film. And my favorite book is a book called The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. I just happen to be rereading it now, and it may be because of this film. And the word Synecdoche, by the way, is like on page 20 of the book. But the book is about how in everyday life we are actors 100% of the time. We are actors with our loved ones, we're actors with our friends, we're actors in our work. And the book kind of drives you crazy as it gets deeper and deeper, how every moment of your life you're acting and you're playing a part. And watching it tonight, I realized what this movie is about is how messy our lives are, and how we hope by the end we find our true selves, our true self. And that made the last section of the film so much more resonant for me even this time in thinking about that.
Another thing I thought that was funny and kind of scary was Hope Davis's character, which is the self-help platitudes that people buy into. And I'm wondering what you think of the self-help industry. Yeah.
It was a joke.
It was
a gag. I don't know. I mean,
But people really do drink that Kool-Aid. They will buy into that and
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Well, people are desperate for
That's why I think
for
it's sad.
Yeah. Everything is sad, though,
Yeah.
if you really look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so more questions from the audience here. Yes, you wanted to talk. I called on him before.
Hi. I have seen all the movies you've written and directed, and they've all affected me really deeply, and it's mainly because I'm easily able to relate to one of the characters in the film. And I've always been curious, of all the characters you've written, which one do you relate the most to, and why?
I mean, the truth is, when I try to relate to all of the characters. I mean, this is probably not what you wanted to hear, but I try to relate to all the characters that I'm writing when I'm writing them, because if I don't, then I'm kind of not really writing them. You know, I'm commenting on them. So, you know, I mean, like in certain ways, like I relate to Maxine and it being John Malkovich, not because I'm like her, but because she's an idea of mine, you know? I mean, I relate to her in that sense, and they all are. You know, there are things that I'm interested in, people that I'm interested in, relationships that I'm interested in, or dynamics that I'm interested in. So I feel like, you know, another thing that people who don't like me or don't like what I do often say, or maybe even people who do like me, I don't know, it's just this common sort of understanding that everything, you know, all the sort of like the Joel and the Caden and they're all like stand-ins for me, you know, and you know, I think I think that obviously that brought that on a little bit myself because of the Charlie character in adaptation, but I don't think of them that way, you know. I don't think of their, and I don't know if you were asking this, but I kind of feel like I wanted to mention that anyway. That I'm not trying to put myself in and get a stand-in for me, you know. I mean, that is never discussed with the actors. I'm not interested in that. They bring so much to the performances, you know, and as do the actors in the other parts. But so that didn't help, right? Okay, sorry. Okay.
Balcony,
Up there,
balcony
balcony.
center.
Yes, I wanted to first of all thank Michael Barker for bringing all these great films. Sorry? All these great films. All these great films to the industry, and I also wanted to make a suggestion, and that is that I don't know if you've seen the Matrix trilogy, but the DVD did something brilliant that I think never really got publicized, and that was they found 3 movie critics who hated the movie, and they did one commentary, and 3 philosophers who loved the movie, including Cornel West, who is one of my favorites. And they did a commentary based on what those 3 philosophers had to say about the movie. And I thought it was just brilliant because it allowed the people who wanted to understand more about the movie to listen to the philosophers, and those people who wanted to feel superior to the critics to listen to the critics. So that's my suggestion for how to market this movie.
It's a great suggestion, but you know, there was one day when Tom and I had this idea. We were going to have this ad of Manola Dargis Review on one side and Rex Reed on the other, and but then we had someone do research whenever that was done before it, if it ever worked, and it never worked, and so we backed off.